What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Social City Podcast, Episode 4, Season 1. I'm your host, Omar Foster, at Old School Omar. This is my beautiful wife, Aubi, hotter than wasabi, Foster, at Aubi on Instagram. Say what's up to the people, boo.
What up?
On today's episode, we're going to be chatting about 5 life hacks when you feel discouraged. We got this fun new segment called Things I Wish People Knew About You and Things you wish people knew about me.
That's right.
Then we got our normal obsession of the week. And then we'll finish off with some gratitude. But first, we got to give a shout out to our sponsor of the week, Alive Inside, y'all. Alive Print Shop on Instagram. Hit up their website, www.aliveprintshop.com. If you know anything about Social City, we got to keep the people swaggy. I've been working with Alive Inside since 2012, and there's a reason they have kept our business this long. They have an awesome staff, and their customer service is next level. They've always taken care of me, had integrity in their work, and overall great communication. Their staff is personable, and you can tell they really value your business. I got to give a shout out to Austin, man. Been working with Austin.
He's the best.
For 12 years now. It's been cool seeing his growth from one building into the next, pumping up their staff, the things that they have to offer. This shirt right here is by Alive Inside, y'all. They print. They do screen printing, embroidery. They do hats, patches, anything you can think of marketing-wise, those guys do over there. It's really cool, like I said, to see their growth. We've been kind of peers as business owners. We've had times where we get to just chit-chat about, business and the ups and downs and obstacles that we're facing as business owners. So again, shout out to Austin from Alive Inside. Those guys got something really good going on over there. Thank you guys for the love and support.
Thank you.
Here we go. After 14 years of being in the health and fitness space, we have heard hundreds of collective stories, conversations, and perspectives that have created so much inspiration in our own lives that we wanted to bring them beyond the 4 walls of the gym and share them on a greater platform. Our goal is to share some of our favorite personalities, stories, and perspectives that continue to inspire us. Episode 4. 1, 2, 3, and to the 4. Aubi and Omar are at your door. We wanted to give a big shout out to all of our listeners and viewers. The love and the support we've had over the past 3 episodes has been much more than we could have ever imagined.
Seriously.
When we pulled the trigger on this, just kind of dove in head first and just kind of figuring it out. So thanks for coming along the ride with us, y'all. Let us know in the comments if there's any topics you guys want us to discuss in the future, or if there's something you guys want to hear us talk about on the next episode.
Yeah.
So it's February, the month of love. So in honor of Cupid, we have a fun segment called Things I Wish People Knew About You. Aubi and I have both written down a list of 5 things we wish people knew about each other. We have not shared this list yet and thought it'd be fun to share it all with you guys.
I feel like I wasn't nervous until now. I don't know why.
So who wants to go first?
Ooh, paper, rock, scissors for sure.
Scissors?
Here we go.
Like just one? Best out of 3? What you think?
Yes.
Just one?
One and done.
One and done. All right.
Here we go.
Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right. You won.
I won.
Yeah,
Did you hear that all?
Scissors,
I won.
Scissors cut paper. Why did I go paper?
You go first.
I guess I'll go first. About Aubi. Things I wish people knew. The Hype Girl Collective is at the top of my list.
Oh,
I think that's
wow.
so cool that you started your own company, your own LLC. You get to be selective with companies and brands you get to work for and do marketing for. I'm proud of you for that, boo.
Thank you.
The Hype Girl Collective.
Yeah, Hype Girl Collective is my marketing agency. I have a handful of clients, but it's been really cool because I've always wanted to do my own thing, and I just never thought that I could. And you really created that space to make that possible. So really, thank you, because if it wasn't for that, I would have never even gone down that route. So
yeah. So there's number 1.
Yeah, I love
Number
that.
2, if you're not in the gym, if you're not at our gym, I don't think people understand how strong you actually are. Like Aubi's PR deadlift is what, 355?
355.
Like 355 deadlift. That's heavy for a girl. Like I have days where I'm lucky to pull 355 for a deadlift.
I like a deadlift.
Yeah, and then your hang power clean, you did what, 200 this
I
past
did
Wednesday?
200. I think my all time's 215.
Yeah, 200 pound hang power clean. Just
Yeah.
no big deal. Not only is she strong, but like she's a beast with conditioning. Like top of the leaderboard
I feel
every
like
time.
I'm getting like a little hot. I didn't anticipate like that with
Yeah.
this section.
It's like if there's ever a partner workout or Team Tuesday or like today, you got partnered up with the new guy, Daniel.
He crushed though. That guy
he's in really good shape.
crushed.
Yeah.
I was trying to keep up.
But after we were like, okay, Aubi's going to go with the new guy, Daniel, you could hear everyone silently being like, oh, dude, that sucks for you. Like, you're about to get crushed. But no, you
He
are
did really
in
well.
amazing shape, strength and conditioning wise.
Man, thank you.
And then number 3, you're a woman of your word. If you say you're going to pray for somebody, you pray for somebody by their name.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't miss out. You don't just say that. You do it
Yeah,
from
I
your
mean
heart.
that.
Yeah. So when people say, hey, like, I'll pray for you, I don't know how serious they are, if it's just something that people say.
It definitely has become this soundbite that we throw around so often. And I think we're definitely in a season of the world feeling like we're saying that more than we probably should out of tragedy or out of sadness. So for me, I actually got that from my dad. When my dad would say he was going to pray for someone, I heard him pray for them. And he is consistent to this day. I mean, if I have friends going through things, he is a part of my little prayer pack, and I send him a text with full names and he's praying too. So really it's a tip of the hat to my dad, because I saw how that changed for people and it changed the way that I looked at prayer. Because I think when I was little, I used to think about prayer as kind of just something to show gratitude or to ask for forgiveness. And I didn't realize it was such a powerful tool for like other people, you know?
There's power in prayer.
So if you need prayer, you let your girl know. I got you.
You just hit Aubi up.
That's right.
She'll pray for you at bedtime and
morning time and in the cold plunge.
Uriah and Sayla and I sometimes fall asleep during Aubi's prayer because they're pretty long.
They are really long. Sorry. I'm a little verbose.
Yeah, but I love it. So number 4, how thoughtful and a loving wife you are. The things you do, like the lemon love notes when I come downstairs and you write a little note on my lemon water with a knife there. It's like a sweet letter with like a knife that's
just a
pretty
reminder,
aggressive and
just
violent.
A little reminder.
You've done stuff like the affirmations you've wrote on the mirror for me. Like, that was huge. You do a good job at celebrating wins and victories for me. You're big on that.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Because I'm so proud of you, and you deserve to be celebrated.
And then last one, you balance us out with your empathy.
Oh, true that. Although you're getting way more empathetic.
Yeah,
you really are. You've grown so much.
I've been pretty stone cold.
But I'm way sensitive. Maybe too much sometimes. Sorry about it.
Well, I was so hardcore that I'm like, I don't understand these emotions you're feeling towards these people.
Do you remember?
Don't you feel so bad for so-and-so? And I'm like, no, I don't even know who that is.
Oh, yeah. I don't have to even know them.
But now I love you for it, though.
I'm that person that's like, I could read a tragedy on Instagram of a friend, and I'm looking at, for 2 days. Sometimes I'm like, man, because I don't know. I just think there are a lot of people that hurt or that go through things, and sometimes we get so desensitized. And I remember a season when I was going through my own struggle and just felt like so alone and so invisible. So for me, it's just probably my own self-healing of caring about other people, you know?
Yeah, for sure. In the beginning, it used to drive me a little crazy.
A little?
Like, why do you have the energy to put forth in these other people?
Well, I mean, I didn't. I mean, that's it is a balance. So I think when you are someone that's super empathetic, you have to create boundaries, especially because it takes so much energy, and you can still be there and not take it on. And that's something I've been trying to be a little bit better at, is still be empathetic, but maybe not take it on as if it's my own. Because I know that that's also been tough. But
but no, it's something I love about you.
Oh,
because I'm like, if people are wanting to reach out to us as the Fosters, you're usually the go-to. It's like, I'm gonna hit Aubi up and try to get a direct line to Omar because he has no feelings.
He does.
I do now, for sure.
I used to always send there's a meme of somebody crying in the shower, and the way that you would comfort them was like the broom. You like touch them with a broom. I used to send that to you all the time.
You okay in there?
Checking on you.
Yeah, so those are my 5 things I wish people knew about you, boo.
Man, thank you.
Yeah.
They're all so good and like squishy. I like it.
Yeah, I try.
Okay. So here are my 5 things that I wish people knew about you.
Oh, you're right. I guess I feel nervous too.
Yeah, right? It's a little nerve-wracking. Just let you sit in here for a second.
Right. Don't make me cry.
How much you care about people. Because while you are not maybe outwardly expressive, like, you really care about people, and you're so big on showing up for people. I remember when we started the gym, and we would just go to like random soccer games of kids of the members, and we were all fairness, we were in our mid-20s, and I had no friends with kids. So it was just kind of a foreign thing for me of like, okay, we're going to a soccer game on a Saturday. Cool. Like I didn't know our business like extended beyond the hours of class. And then what I realized is like, that's how you love people, and the way that you show that you care. So it's like, well, I'm very verbal and physical touch and all of that. Like you show up for people. You're really big on that, big on having someone to look out in the crowd and make sure that they're there and supporting them. And I think sometimes you're so good at keeping everything very tight to the vest and you're very stoic. So in any season that we've been in, whether it's stuff with the gym or friends or family or whatever, you do keep such good bearing. But man, sometimes I wish people like knew how big that heart was.
Yeah, you know where that comes from? Just think, as a kid growing up, like my dad was very verbally supportive. Like if there was something I wasn't good at, he's like, hey man, like get out there and shoot 100 free throws a day, shoot 100 3-points a day, do 100 push-ups, and you would get better as long as you practice and put forth the effort. But then like he never showed up, never showed up to the games, you know?
Yeah.
Not one, like not a single one.
Really?
You know? So I think that's where that kind of stems from, is like, I just want to show people support, like how much it means
that
to see someone out. Yeah. To see someone out in the crowd that's like just there cheering you on and rooting you on. Just want to see you do the thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So that was number one.
Okay.
Number two.
Hit me with it.
That you love strawberry milkshakes, but not strawberry ice cream.
Yeah. It's kind of
And you love chocolate ice cream, but not chocolate milkshakes.
Not a chocolate shake.
And that about sums it up on like what it's like to be married to Omar. Like he will look at you sometimes and be like, yeah, duh. Like, how did you not know this? And then I look at that rationale and I'm like, well, that is about as clear as mud. But I love that about you because it's such a funny nuance, but I think it kind of perfectly encapsulates your personality as well. Like you're so unique in that. Like you don't.
Yeah, like it doesn't really make sense. But
It doesn't at all to
ice
me.
cream that like I like to chew ice cream in a sense. So like slurping on a chocolate shake just doesn't do it for me.
I know.
And then vice versa, like strawberry ice cream, nah, I don't want nothing to do with
It's
it. If we're going
hilarious
out on
to
a Friday,
me.
strawberry shake for show.
Yeah. So that's number two. And I feel like if you know Omar, then it gives you a little bit of insight on what
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one.
What it's like
Do
to be
not
married.
get Omar chocolate shake.
Yeah.
Duly noted.
Duly noted. I also, number three, I wish you talked about your motorcycle accident more and what a testimony that is. So in 2005, Omar was in a motorcycle accident. He was at a closed track sanctioned race. He had a brand new R1.
Oh yeah, you know what bike it is and everything.
I know the story. And he wrecked, kind of flying down the end of that track, and he woke up 3 days later in the hospital, flight for life. His mom had been flown across the country. When the doctor told him that they had to remove his spleen, his next question was, how long do I have to live?
How long do I have to live, bro? Tell me what's up. Like, I didn't know what the spleen did. Apparently,
I don't
you
think
don't need it
most
as an
people
adult.
do.
Yeah.
But as crazy of a story that is, it's such a testimony to your mindset and to who you are as a person and how you are so self-made, and you are not one to be told what your limitations are. And I just think there's so much value in that testimony. And then also to be able to witness your physical capabilities from that. So broken back, ruptured spleen, broken wrist, broken
hip, fracture.
What, L2 through
L2 through
L5?
L5 fractures. Yeah, man. Broken from head to toe.
Seriously.
Yeah, doctors told me I'd be lucky if I walk unassisted ever again.
Exactly. And I wish sometimes, while you're so humble about that, I just think that story would help so many people. So I thought I'd bring it up today just in case.
I love it.
And then number 4, I said that you're truly a self-made person. Everything that we have in our life outside of our home that we're trying to pay down, we've paid for in cash. And I don't say that as a flex, and there are some people that, maybe that's not the financial advice that they would take, but I've always been so impressed with your ability to create opportunity and never, even if we feel like we're at a dead end, it's not a dead end. And your point of view and how you grind and hustle, and you don't talk about it. You're not one to ever brag about what you've done, but I always look, there is a pink ball in our gym that's in a case that a lot of people walk in and either they walk past it or sometimes they kind of eye it. It looks a little strange. It's just like this little deflated ball that's
duct tape,
pink duct tape
with dirt in it.
And that was our first wall ball, because when we started CrossFitting in 2010, we were learning off YouTube, learning from Colby at 24 Hour Fitness. We had no equipment and made his own wall ball. Like again, like his
Yeah,
personality.
because Colby was like, hey, man, there's a couple things I use often. Wall balls,
Yeah.
kettlebells, like a jump rope or something like that.
Yeah.
And we were looking up wall balls, and they were like $150. I was like, bro, I'm not spending $150 for a wall ball. I'm just tossing up on a wall. So we makeshift made one out of dirt grocery bags and taped it up. It's probably got 6 layers
Yeah.
underneath the pink tape because we would toss it up on the wall. We'd get tired of like hit the ground and kind of just bust and rupture. I have to go and add dirt to make sure it stayed at 20
Yeah,
pounds.
exactly.
Curious to know where it's at today.
Totally. But just the fact that you're self-made and that you didn't come from much, and you've made an opportunity for yourself in everything that you've done. You've never been one to kind of self-promote that, but man, I'm so proud of that. I just think that there is something different when you're cutting your teeth that way, and it makes you appreciate so much. And it also is part of why you're so fearless. Like you came from nothing, so you're not afraid to have nothing.
Yeah, true that.
And that has helped me grow so much as your partner, and it's just really inspiring. And I think sometimes because you carry yourself so well and you carry yourself with so much confidence, people have no idea the background that you have and where you come from. And man, it just always makes me incredibly proud. And I wish you talked about it a little bit more. So
thank you, boo.
That was number 4. And number 5, another food tip: never serve Omar pizza without meat. Actually, don't serve him any meal without meat. I was a vegetarian for 7 years when I met Omar. I just barely started eating chicken, and literally that was one of his non-negotiables was me eating meat. I think he said it jokingly, but now I've realized that he was probably very serious. But if you ever want to have Omar over for dinner, if you want to bring him a snack, if you want to take him to lunch, just always make sure it's centered around meat. He is like straight carnivore.
Doesn't have to be
real.
centered around meat, but like a complete vegetarian meal with just like cheese and marinara sauce. Like, come on, give me some protein in it, right?
Yeah.
Gotta hit the macros and
Well, we
one way or
always have
another.
meat in our meals, I should put it.
Yes, we do.
Oh, he did, though, do vegetarian for 7 days?
Yeah, I did vegetarian for 7 days. That was a while ago. I mean, I found myself eating 2 grilled cheese sandwiches every night, like a bowl of cereal in the morning, which I never hate cereal. And I was just trying to find my way through being a vegetarian. But I was like, this isn't healthy. I'm eating a bunch of garbage stuff. And I'm sure there's ways to do it right.
There
like,
is,
no
there
bashing
is.
on it, but like you can eat clean single ingredients or like plant-based vegetarian or whatever it is. But
Totally.
I definitely didn't do it right.
No, I mean, I didn't either. For 7 years, I was like a pastatarian and like lived off Caesar salads. Like, and I thought I was like crushing it. Couldn't imagine why I didn't have any muscle back then. So all good. But yeah, those are my 5. So meat, the strawberry shakes, and just a little bit more about like who you are and sharing that.
I love that. Thank you. That was a fun little segment.
Yeah.
Man, it's been a great week, but I've not been feeling too hot the last couple of days. And I gotta tell you, the wifey has doped me up on all the holistic
Crunchy
ways.
mom.
Totally. I gotta tell you, I'm feeling better though. She had me on the onion water. She had me on the fermented garlic honey. She even put onions in my socks. that was a weird one, but I think it pulled some toxins out of me. You
For
know?
sure.
She oiled up the body with some of those essential oils.
Mhm.
Some of that lavender and peppermint.
Love month. Just
Yeah,
saying.
I love it.
Like, did you ever think that I would be this? Like, when O met me, I was like guzzling Jameson by the gallon. Did you ever think now it would be like such crunchy moms with all my different mason jars full of different concoctions?
No, not at all. But I love it. I love the growth and the progress and our journey from where we started to where we are now. Yeah, it's all part of it,
so
right?
good.
And I hate being off routine. That's probably the worst part about when you're not feeling so hot. It's like, like you don't want to get up and do your typical routine. Cold plunge in the past 2 days has been like, this is the last thing I want to do right now. But I knew like if I didn't get that win in yesterday and like this morning, that it was going to put me a little bit more down in the dumps than I could have been.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Today we're going to be talking about 5 life hacks. 5 life hacks when you're feeling discouraged. So I got to talk about momentum a little bit because momentum reaffirmed that people are going through hurts and struggles.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of time we're prioritizing fitness. And that's great because fitness helps clear the mind, helps clear anxiety, helps get you out of a slump, get you out of depression. But I think we're kind of missing that like mental aspect a little bit and what to do when you are feeling discouraged or down the dumps.
Yeah, because I think generally when we talk about getting fit, it becomes a little bit clearer of a lane of how you do that, right? I mean, you eat clean, and there are different, we've talked about this, there's different protocols that work for that. You move daily. These things are I would say, pretty common knowledge. They're difficult to implement, but pretty common knowledge. But I think when we look at mental health and we look at when you're in a slump or you're in a season of discouragement or you're in a season of self-doubt, there really isn't a clear path. So you and I were talking this week, and just some friends that we have going through some things and stories and family stuff that's kind of taken place. And we were talking about what we do when we find ourselves in those seasons, because it's not if, it's when.
Yeah.
It's when you're going to go through a slump. And part of that is the routine side of things, right? But we thought, how do we take it a step further and try to create maybe 5 practical tips and tricks that we utilize all the time? Because I suffer from depression and anxiety. I have my whole life, and it's been such a journey for me on figuring out how do I manage that proactively and holistically, and something that I felt like I was in control of, because I think for so many years I just kind of assumed that it was out of my control and this is just who I was. And depression runs in my family, and I'm just an anxious person. And while some of those things are still very true, the conversation doesn't end there, right?
Yeah. And I think over the past couple of years, like, people have found themselves even more isolated and finding it hard to find a group of people or community that's there to support them, to listen to whatever hurts or struggles they're going through, because we've just been isolating ourselves. Like, social interaction face to face isn't much of a thing anymore. So the mental health part of it is going to be huge.
Yeah. So we have put together a nice little list for you to review that is just 5 practical.
Feeling down in the funk, or you just feel like you're not moving the needle. Taro, right? When I met you, you were a little bit of a tornado there. Not much of a routine,
a little bit. Ooh, I mean, I had a routine. Monday and Monday, Tuesday, wasted Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday fun day. And I was pretty damn consistent.
You held strong to that routine.
Yeah, I
guess you're right. I guess you did have a routine.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a positive.
Whatever it is, your workouts, being consistent with it, your nutrition, your daily discipline.
Things that are measurable to like kind of affirm, believe in yourself, that kept me motivated. Action, because it was so foreign to me.
Yeah.
And I just felt like this like wild tiger. It wasn't necessarily that. It was just really having some predictable wins throughout the day that was programmed. And I fought you on it for so long. And then I think finally when I decided to see what was on the other side of saying no to that, I realized for me how much it helped me manage my own feelings and regulate my own feelings. And even if I didn't feel like I did as much as I had hoped during that day, or didn't land the way I had hoped, or whatever that is, I can look back and say, okay, at least I stacked some things in my favor to start the day. And then it really is overused as this statement is right now. Discipline really is freedom, because then once you have that routine and discipline, it really allows you to make decisions, I think, so much easier from that place, and know where to go back to when you want to feel good. And you want to just turn your brain off and go into autopilot. That routine actually gives you the freedom to do that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I definitely noticed a difference, which brings us to hack number 2. Stacking as many daily wins as possible, y'all. The idea here is to create a checklist of daily wins, and there's actual science to back this, right? So let's talk about D.O.S.E. These are your daily happy chemicals, how we can achieve this through the daily wins. So the D on D.O.S.E. stands for dopamine. It's what makes you feel motivated. Things you can do to increase this happiness level is to have a daily to-do list or something creative like writing, music, or art. So I'll just give you my daily wins list. I think I posted this on my story a couple days ago. But the first one right out of the gate is no snooze, which I'm still working on. And I think I saw that from Christy. I think Christy posted that. Shout out to Christy with Fit LV.
Nutrition and fitness.
Yeah, so she said, like, when you hit the snooze, it's almost like you're breaking a promise to yourself, and that really like rung a bell. Because I'll admit it, like, I'm a snoozer. I'll set it for a certain time. Why do we do that? Set it early and then hit the snooze for a couple times. And I'm like, oh, gosh, you should have just set it for the time you're going to get up at.
There's also science that shows when you fall back asleep too, you're starting a new sleep cycle, and it actually makes you feel more tired. So, I coach 5 a.m. on Wednesdays, and I tend to get up at like 3:45 if I'm going to do a cold plunge and make myself a coffee and get my daily wins and my routine in the morning.
Yeah.
And I have found that even if is that early, you can fall back asleep even for 5 minutes. And so the difference between getting up right when the alarm gets off, as hard as it is, I just don't think about it. I just like take the blanket off and stand up and start walking. It does make a big difference than even just 5 minutes on the snooze, because you're starting that sleep cycle again. And that's why you feel so groggy and even more tired.
Yeah,
so
I guess that makes sense.
I know.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it easier, but it gives you at least the science to justify you need to get up when the alarm goes off.
Yeah, so I'm working on that one. And then cold plunge, like I said, the past couple of days, I'm like, this is the last thing I want to do.
What day are you on?
Day 32.
30, so I'm 31.
Day 32, y'all.
I'm one behind.
And then the cold plunge, I get my prayer in, have a conversation with the man. That always makes you feel good. That's where I get to dive in deep, because, like I said, you've been a really good long distance prayer. You can do the
long
marathons.
format. I give like a sermon before bed.
I'm like a 5K prayer, you know what I mean?
I'm a marathon.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been getting like a solid 3 minutes in, and I haven't even have to wear my watch lately. I've just been kind of like watching the song, how much time is left on the song, and if it's somewhere between 3 and 4 minutes, it's like, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, and then the song is over, and I'm like, all right, amen, we're out. So prayer, then the lemon salt water. Talked about that when you write my lemon love notes. Gratitude, hit the gratitude journal, morning reflections. First thing out of the gate, I love it when they ask you affirmations. You know, I tend to write, I am kind, I'm successful, I'm strong. And then gratitude, you know, get the right things you're grateful for. Always grateful for my supportive wife, grateful for a body that's capable. You know, and I think that's just a good way to start off the morning. It's another win, you know?
Yeah, it sets the mindset for the day of really thinking about, even before anything happens to you, like what are all the things that you have to be thankful for. And we all have something to be thankful for.
Yeah, and then as soon as I wrap up with my gratitude journal, I've been hitting the Bible, reading some Proverbs, and then I leave the house. So I get those 6 wins in before I even leave the house, you know? Coach a couple classes, a few classes, and then I get into a workout, maybe around 10 or so. We usually get outdoors, take the kids to the park on the daily, get up there for at least 30 minutes or so. We usually get some grounding in, get the shoes off. Sayla
We're
loves
so
grounding.
hippie. I love it.
Sayla will be the first person with her shoes off, and we're like, what
She's
are
our
you
barefoot
doing?
kid.
She is. She loves it. But to get outdoors, get some sunshine, get some grounding in, get your feet in the grass, get in some dirt. And then something creative. I think creating is one that's kind of underutilized and kind of missed a little bit.
Well, and I also think it's something that you easily gloss over, because even when we were discussing this last night, I mean, your creative is so outward, right? And something that's usually shared, whether it's like photos or videos or creating apparel or whatever that is. And I was like, I'm not really that creative. And you corrected me, because it is in the little things. So I do crafts with the kids, or right now it's Valentine's Day. So I did signs on each of the doors in our house, one for Omar, one for Uriah, one for Sayla. And then I cut out 14 hearts with 14 things that I love about each of them. And every day we're putting one up. And I think of that as like such a cute little mom thing in a way of showing love.
You always minimize that. You always
Yeah.
talk about like you don't have anything, you don't have an outlet, but you always do traditions like that make us feel so special. You know, from, like I said, making the hearts 14 days.
Yeah, we have a chalkboard wall in our kitchen that's floor to ceiling, and we generally will always do countdowns on that or celebrations of that. And I think that was such a powerful perspective that you gave me last night, because I think labeling is such a powerful thing that we do to ourselves. So I am not creative. I am not this. I do not get up early. I am not a morning person.
Yeah.
And we tell ourselves these things. And if you tell yourself that, it's true, even if the behavior isn't. And it's almost like the mindset is even more powerful than the behavior of just being able to recognize that. And after you had pointed that out last night, I just kind of marinated on that and was like, oh, wow, like,
Yeah,
I guess I am kind of creative.
Yeah, totally.
And it was really empowering. And it made me think about the importance of how we stack our habits to be the person that we want to be, and maybe leaving those labels behind, because just because you used to think, just because you weren't a morning person doesn't mean that you can't be. Just because I am not generally a very organized person doesn't mean I can't be.
Yeah.
I just need to stack my habits and my routine
In favor of that.
In favor of it, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So then after doing something creative, I got play with kids, home cooked dinners. That's always a fun thing. It's a real good bonding time just to come home and, you know what I mean? The kids are chopping up whatever it is, chopping up veggies. They want to be included on everything, you know?
Yeah.
And Sayla loves doing dishes. So
She does.
It's like a little,
I hate doing
you
dishes.
get like a little annoyed at first because you're like, no, there's not much you can do here. And then you're like, hey, like, we don't have a TV, so let them join us, you know? I tend to like do the dishes and then like let her rinse them all out and hand them to me. And it's such a fun bonding time, you know? And then to sit down at the table and just enjoy dinner and have quality time, break bread, have conversations, catch up on the day.
Well, I love that you intentionally put play with the kids, because I think as parents, like, we have daily interaction with your kids, and there's a difference between daily interaction and intentional interaction. And I think studies say now it's working parents get 15 minutes on average of quality time, not like, you know, serving dinner or baths or bedtime stories, like real quality time of connection. And I think we have so many kids that are craving that from parents. And I would just encourage you, if you have kids at any age, start to intentionally look for a way to connect with them every day.
Yeah.
It could be just a moment. It could, I mean, for you, it could have been like washing the dishes with Sayla. For me, sometimes it's like going up in Uriah's room and seeing what Lego he built, or just being really intentional with that. It only takes a couple minutes, but man, does it make such a difference in the way that you feel, you know,
Yeah, it does.
towards them and your patience towards them and all of that.
Yeah, it's like if we're going to the park and you know, our kids are homeschooled, so there's times where there's not kids Uriah's age at the park. And he's like, oh, Dad, like, if there's not someone of my age, you're going to be playing tag with me. And I'm like, yeah, we're playing tag, bro.
You're like the cool dad that plays tag, though, because even if there's kids at the park, he's like, my dad will play tag.
Yeah, he calls me out.
Oh, this kid's fast. Wait till you meet my dad. It's hilarious.
I'm not going to lie. There's some days where like, dude, I won't play tag. And Uriah's getting fast, you know? Like, I used to be able to pump the brakes at about 80%, you know what I mean? And now it's like, I got to go 100% if I don't want him to catch me.
Mm-hmm.
Catch me if you can. That's always fun. And then I go into journaling again at night, just kind of a recap of the day, try to read 10 pages before bed. And then this is what we're working on, is be in bed by 9 p.m.
I know.
You can't get them all.
No, you got to
try
have
them.
goals.
We got goals.
We got to stretch ourselves.
Yeah, usually like 10, huh? 10,
Yeah.
10:30.
11,
Don't tell anyone.
11.
And then I got cardio. Cardio with the wife. Wink. We won't talk about that too much. Everyone's got their own name for it, all right? You know, it's just part of marriage, y'all. Then we got O in D.O.S E. So D.O.S.E. The O stands for oxytocin. It's a feeling of trust. It's known as the cuddle or love hormone. Things like physical touch, socialization, and
Cardio.
self-care. This stuff like massage, listening to music, and spending time with people that makes you feel good. You got to remember, not everyone's going to make you feel good. You're going to come around some people with some negative energy where you ain't vibrating on the same frequency. You got to be aware of that.
Yeah, and I think
keep them at arm's distance, you know?
I tend to be a little bit of a people pleaser sometimes, and I think that this is something I've struggled with, but I've become much more attuned to that and realized that you can still love someone, you can still have them in your life, and you can still create some healthy boundaries, because I'm very empathetic and I will take that on and take it with me. And there are some things that if I don't feel good or I feel icky after a conversation, I've just become much more in tune with myself on surrounding myself with people more often than not that don't make me feel that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Because once you start to pay attention to it, it does make such a difference.
Yep.
And it's hard. This is kind of the hard part of life, but you got to protect yourself as well.
You do. We know that Social City lives up to the name. I love that's a hub for people to be and find friends. Like, where do you go to find friends as an adult? You know what I mean? That isn't going out or hitting the strip or something like that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, we've heard so many stories about people moving to Las Vegas and looking for a new crew and finding it at the gym. S is for serotonin. This is known for feeling significant or important amongst peers. You can access this through sunlight, cold showers, cold plunging, or exercise, y'all. And then last but not least is E for endorphins. This is a release of brief euphoria to mask a physical pain. It is a response to pain and stress that alleviates anxiety and depression. Access this through laughter and crying. Eating dark chocolate.
Hey, that one though.
That one.
I would like a massage and some dark chocolate.
Stretching, meditation, and dark chocolate to release them endorphins. So I'm going to reread to you guys my daily wins to see what I did here and how I set that up, right? So I had the no snooze. The cold plunge was my release of oxytocin and serotonin. And then prayer also releases oxytocin and endorphins. Move on down to the workout. Working out covers all of them, everything. D.O.S.E. You'll get everything from working out. So that's how important it is to at least go for daily walks. I think walking is just
so underestimated. And the difference, I mean, perfect example. When we started doing 75 hard, really the only thing that changed in our routine was a daily walk because we were already drinking a gallon of water. We generally train every day. Our diet, for the most part, is the same. But the extra stretch was really getting in that outdoor walk.
Yep.
And for me, the difference was literally 20 pounds. Like it's 20, like nothing else different in my routine. I mean, I'd cut out gluten, I'd managed some inflammation and whatnot, but the difference was intentionally getting in those steps. And I'm not saying that is going to be the same for everyone. However, it was such an eye opener as many years as we've done fitness and as many times as we had heard, you know, the 10,000 step challenge a day or 8,000 steps or whatever the goal or stretch was. I never realized how much impact that could have on someone that was already like training all the time. Yeah. And now it's something that if I don't make it to the gym, I still have to walk. I need to get some steps in.
Yeah. If anyone's looking for any sort of advice on fitness and losing some weight, losing some extra pounds, I would give you a 30-day challenge of walking 30 minutes and do it with your family. Get some good bonding time in, man. We used to do the walks. It's like, man, just to get to hear the kids and their imagination and them catch us up on the day and just to see them ride their scooter and their bikes. And 90% of the time we're getting to the park and playing tag with each other. It's just good bonding time. It really brought us real tight and close as a family.
Totally.
So then I got getting outdoors in sunshine, like I mentioned before, releases serotonin. We got grounding, also releases serotonin. Doing something creative releases the dopamine and endorphins. and then a little cardio with the wife for some oxytocin release. That's how I stack my wins. I stack them in favor of all those happy chemicals. So make sure you guys aren't missing out on those, because if you're doing the opposite of that, you're obviously going to have opposite results.
Yeah, and I think it shows the strategy, right? Like there is a little bit of strategy to this. Like pick daily wins, things that are something that you're going to accomplish, something that's moving the needle forward towards the person that you want to be, but also thinking about this D.O.S.E method of like, okay, what can I do within my realm that is accomplishing my goals that hit these things? Because you're programming it in your day. So even if you're in a funk, you are getting into action to something that is going to release that chemical, and it will release. And it may take 2 weeks, might take 2 years. Everyone is different in terms of when they have that breakthrough. But man, you're setting yourself up for success.
And it always feels so good.
Yeah.
All of them feel so good.
Yeah.
That's why people get hooked. That's why I'm like a creature of habit.
Totally.
Number 3 is consumption, y'all. We got, you are what you eat, but you are also what you watch and what you listen to. What you consume with all your senses impacts the way you think, act, and live. And don't minimize this one, guys. When you're thinking about areas of your life like diet and nutrition, you want to speak on how you try to manage that for us in the family?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I have an autoimmune disease, and so it's a little bit of a shock collar for me in terms of keeping the nutrition on point, but it also kind of creates some really healthy guardrails on like what we try to keep in our home. We keep it really simple, as many single ingredient foods as possible. So fruits, vegetables, our carbs are usually like rice, potatoes. We're not really pasta people, but if we were, it's, gluten-free chickpea pasta or something of that nature. And if we're looking at ingredients on food, if you cannot pronounce it, you probably shouldn't be eating it. So, that's not for everything, right? But it's like we want to look at that for the majority, and it's those stacking of habits that are different. Like if I know that there is something that we have no self-control around, then I'm not bringing it in the house. Yeah. Now, intentional treats and whatnot, like we're not savages. Like we do live and we have plenty of good food, and I'm Greek, so I'm never going to not celebrate with food. That is just a part of my culture, and I'm not going to be any different. But I've learned for myself that it's like removing that temptation makes a big difference. And then it plays out in everything else. You feel good, period, like physically. Your kids, the difference in behavior, it matters. And I know this is like such a polarizing comment, but if you are having behavioral issues with your kids, evaluate their fuel. It matters more than you think. Food coloring matters. Seed oils we try to avoid. They're very inflammatory. And again,
we see it. It's noticeable.
Yeah.
Our kids eat relatively clean. And like you said, like we're not savages. Like we let them have little treats.
Yeah, for sure. But the difference in when they're consuming that, you see the difference in how that plays out. And so we've been very cognizant. And I also want them to understand how to fuel themselves. Because listen, they're going to have plenty of time on their own budget when they grow up and move out to pick whatever they want to eat. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. And I want to encourage that. Again, we don't completely eliminate things. We still have pizza and ice cream and all the things. It's just in moderation. Yeah. But giving them the baseline understanding of how to fuel their body is a huge priority for me.
Yeah.
It is so confusing. And I worked in labeling in my beverage days in terms of understanding like how you get the organic label, how do you get the gluten-free label, and then started to realize obviously what kind of BS that was in the marketing world. So for me, simple is better. I mean, it is that simple.
And we'll notice it on like birthdays, birthday parties. Like it's just the nature of the beast,
Totally.
Like there's pizza, there's cupcakes and cake and lollipops and candy. And it's like, oh man, when we get home at night, we're like, what's going on? And
we
like,
need a padded room for
they
sure.
Probably had 250 grams of sugar in one shot. So yeah, their behavior makes sense.
Yeah.
Then we're talking about things like the themes in the music you're listening to, what books you're reading or what audio books you're listening to. Because I think about when I was a kid, like I had no guardrails as to what I was able to
we always
to.
talk about this where I'm like, well, what was your favorite Christmas movie? And what did you say?
Yeah, it was like Friday, bro. Friday. That was Friday, next Friday, Friday after next. Yeah, Those are my movies, man.
And I was like, well, what age did you watch that at? Because my parents were pretty good about keeping guardrails around like appropriate content that they saw fit for us at a certain age. But it does make such a difference. I think we talk about consumption. The automatic thing we're talking about health and wellness is you easily jump to food.
Yeah.
Which is such a foundational thing. Yeah. But it's so much more than that. It's what you're listening to. It's what you're watching. It's the sound bites of your friends that you're consuming. Like, what are you consuming overall
Yep.
with all of your senses?
Yeah, I think about how like hip hop influenced me, you know? Like my dad was like, I think I was in the 2nd or 3rd grade. He's like, go in the swap meet and buy me the Tupac Shakur Hail Mary album. And I was like, all right, Dad, put it on the truck. And I'm like, are you sure you want me listening to this, you know?
Yeah.
But I had no boundaries. And it was like all this, that Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre back then. Like that was my jam. I wanted to dress like them with the Dickies and the chain and the hat, you know? Chuck Taylors with the fat laces in. And I think that's why I have a thing. That's why I have a thing for old school cars.
Totally.
You know what I mean? It was influenced by the hip hop culture.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and I think when we get older, we assume that we're not so easily influenced, right? Because it's like as a kid, that's such a theme you hear from your parents sometimes, like you are who you hang with, or like you're influenced by those things. And I think as we get older, we forget that we're still very easily influenced. We're still just as equally influenced by the friends that we're around and the music that we listen to, or the podcasts that we listen to, or the audiobooks, TV that we're watching, the friend circle that you're hanging out with. Like, listen, you hang out with 5 people that don't like their spouse, you probably ain't gonna like your spouse.
Ooh.
Like, again, probably a little polarizing, but that is real talk. And I think if you want to see a difference in your life, you have to start being accountable to your decisions as an adult.
Dang,
and
preach. Hit her with it. Hit her with it.
Little boss lady lecture. If anyone that used to work for me had plenty of those, but it's such a real thing. You have to eat a piece of humble pie and really start to evaluate your life. If you are depressed and you are sad or you are angry, who are you listening to?
Yeah.
What personalities are you looking up to? Who are you connecting with? You know, like if you are not connecting with your husband, are you hanging out with a lot of girls that don't like their husband?
Yeah, true.
That probably is not going to help.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you can't be there for them. Doesn't mean that they're not your girlfriends, but that is still part of consumption of the sound bites that you're hearing.
Yeah, that becomes your echo chamber.
Totally.
Yeah.
Of like, wait, my husband does that too. Wait, should I have been upset about that? And that stuff can happen in the subconscious, not even in the forefront of your mind. And I think until you start, it's like an elimination diet. And until you start eliminating toxic things in your life, whether it's food, people, places, or things, you will not know the difference. So, elimination diet.
That rolls us right into number 4. Your social circle matters. Just like I said, you are who you hang with. If you don't have someone in your circle that inspires or motivates you, you got to surround yourself around people who you admire and want to like learn from, you know? If you don't have that, I would suggest you add some new players to the game.
Totally. And if I could give a piece of advice, I can't remember where I picked this up from, but it's been very beneficial in my life, is having generational friends, having people that have gone before you that can advise you and speak life into you and maybe help give you insight to what they hope they would have known, or they anchor maybe a life that you admire. I love Pete and Jody for the fact that I look at their marriage and the love that they have. It's such a genuine thing. You can feel it when you're around them. When we first met them, they were walking at the park, and I swear I thought like Jody had a boyfriend because they were holding hands, and just it was that carefree.
He had that bounce.
Yes, he did. He had that like love
I'm
bounce.
a boyfriend bounce.
Yes, like I have the hottest girl ever. Like I'm so happy. And to me, it's like, man, I want to surround myself with marriages like that because I want to be that. So any area of life, whether it's something in fitness, it could be business, it could be faith, it could be whatever area, find someone that has gone ahead and, man, do a service to the people that are yet to come. Find people a little bit younger than you that you can pour into. And it doesn't necessarily have to be intentional, but be open to the opportunity. And I think Social City has been such a good example of that. It's such a melting pot of age, cultures, backgrounds, stories, and experiences. And there's these amazing kind of misfit best friendships that come out of that, and these little cliques and bonds. And to me, it just affirms that of like, man, there's so much value in generational friendships, either a little bit older because they, again, have gone ahead and give you something to either learn from or aspire to.
Yep.
And then again, you get giver's gain, right? Like you get to give the advice that you wish you would have had for maybe people that are on the journey that you're on, whether it's like parenthood or marriage or business.
My guy Nestor was talking about that this week. He's like, man, it's important to have yourself a mentor, a mentee, and a peer. And it's like kind of exactly what you're saying. You know?
Totally. Shout out to Nestor, man.
Shout out to Nestor, man.
Nestor's good. If you need a friend, a good, positive friend, you need a Nestor in your life. He will speak some greatness.
He is like the the hype dude.
Yeah.
Hell, you're like the hype girl. He's the hype dude.
Totally.
Yeah.
Love
And that brings
guy.
us to number 5, which is self-development. It's never too late to be learning, y'all. We should never stop chasing the greatest version of ourselves. And this could look like investing in yourself with a mentor for business or a life coach. Personally, for me, what was it? Probably the beginning of last year, I was like, man, I want to take my video editing and stuff to the next level. Like I'm here and I'm kind of stuck. What can I do? And I came across these guys,
Yeah.
Drew and Gabe. I just was browsing.
Shout out to Drew and Gabe.
Shout out to Drew and Gabe.
Dude, they put out some fire content.
And I was just like, yo, guys, you guys do any kind of mentorship or a program to teach how to edit the way you guys do? Because I love the way you guys do that. And they kind of took me under their wing for video editing, like showed me all the tips and tricks, helped me download filters and color grading, and kind of just taught me like how to really crush videos in the way that I've like always wanted to do, you know?
And I really admired that you were so open to taking mentorship from someone that was younger than you.
Yeah.
Because I think as you get older, I mean, sometimes it feels a little harder to take direction from maybe someone that's younger because you just have that perceived knowledge that, oh, they're still a kid or whatnot. Not that Drew and Gabe were kids by any means, but it's the idea that it's like, man, again, generational friendships, like don't put the limitation on that and just find the people. If there's someone that's doing something and they're crushing it and you want more of that, talk to them. What do you do? What's your secret sauce? I think you'd be surprised at how many people are willing to share.
Yeah, and it was cool because, like you said, even though they were younger than me, they were still hyping me up. Like, you know, just gas cheerleaders, just supporting me. Like, yo, you're crushing it, man. Keep it up, you know? And I think people need that.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Other things I've done is the BOG invested in Big Little Gyms, which is just a gym business
Shout out
mentorship
to Will and
program.
Aaron. They're
Shout out to Will
amazing.
and Aaron, you guys, they've laid out everything you need to know to get your business dialed in as a micro gym business owner. You just have to put in the work.
Yeah.
And it's been great. Been with them for probably 6 to 8 months now, and we're seeing nothing but growth, and we're going to continue to grow and blow the gym out of the seams.
I love it.
We had 75 hard. Anyone who's done 75 hard, you're like, man, you've had some growth.
Yeah.
Like,
And you want to hate on it because I almost feel like it's like cold plunging, right? Like I personally, I did not want to do the cold plunge. I was like, it's not going to be that great. And then it's that great. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm one of those people. One of those people. But in 75 hard, I kind of felt the same way, especially at the time it was such a kind of trendy thing to do.
Yep.
But we did the 75 hard, then the 3 phases that come after that. And I have to say, single-handedly, that program, and not just doing the 75 days, doing all 4 phases changed the way I viewed myself and like what I was capable of. And I'm not saying that maybe you have to do 75 hard, but it was the challenge of doing something that like I did not know if we were going to be able to do it. And then we ended up having to we did 75 hard back to back. Oh, and I were on like day 62. We got the stomach bug and like could not hold down our water.
Yeah, for sure.
And then everyone kept saying like, oh, are you guys going to start over? Kind of joking. And we were
like, yeah, we
don't
missed
challenge
it.
the Fosters.
Totally.
We're just a little competitive.
Yeah,
and it was
like, we missed it. We're starting over.
Yeah. And everyone's like, just do like the 13 days that you missed. And we rolled through and did another 75. We took a day off, which wasn't even a day off. It was really just like puking our guts out and then picked it up the next day. And that for me, it didn't matter what anybody else thought. It didn't necessarily need to be that program, but it changed the way I viewed myself and what I was capable of just being like, hey, if I decide I'm going to do it, if I just make the decision to mentally commit, then just show up for myself in that. And again, checklist, daily wins, it stacks into all the stuff we just talked about.
Yeah. So those are our 5 things that if you commit to, I guarantee you guys will see change. It may take 2 weeks for some, it may take 2 years for others, but commit to the journey of chasing a happier and better you.
And read.
Don't
forget to read. If you don't know where to start, we have a whole list of books. Maybe we'll put them in the show notes for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get into
Obsession of the week.
The week.
Shout out. We had some people comment on their obsession of the week. Pete, Jody's husband, was like, my obsession of the week is hopefully getting an invite to Omar's house for some of his ribs.
Yo, Pete, I'm going to add some extra ribs to the butcher box to make sure we have enough because I definitely am going to need like a whole rack by myself. It was so good.
Our guy Jordan commented over on our Facebook. He was loving the Vegas sunsets lately. Vegas has some dope sunsets.
We do.
Sunsets. Yeah. And then we had our guy Chris from In the Gene Fitness. He was commenting on how he found a new meal prep company, Foodie Fit.
Nice.
Yeah. So thanks for leaving some comment on what your guys' obsession of the week is.
Super cool.
Hit it with it, boo.
Ooh, so this week, my obsession of the week is going to be Vital Proteins chocolate collagen.
Okay.
So I have an autoimmune disease, and so caffeine is not really great for that. And if you know anything about me, you know I love my coffee. And so I've just been trying to stack different habits to try to get the most out of my coffee and maybe not like waste that fresh cup first thing in the morning. So right after my cold plunge, I make myself like a nice little raw milk, hot chocolate with my collagen. And I look forward to it every morning. It actually motivates me to get into the cold plunge because I know that's
looking
to
forward to
follow.
that
Yes, to that to follow.
I get
So if you have not tried it, it's so tasty. Again, it's just a nice little easy habit stack for me of like, if you get in the cold plunge, you get that little raw chocolate milk after. So that's been
Yeah.
my obsession this week for sure.
I love that.
What about you?
I'm going to have to go with the Good Life Chef.
Yeah,
That's my
shout out
obsession of the week.
Andrew.
Shout out to Andrew. I know he's a sponsor of ours, but we did a date night.
We did.
Right? And he taught us how to make beef Wellingtons.
I mean,
which
I'm
don't
not gonna
know.
lie. I feel like a boss after that because I just feel like that like upped my cooking game to another level.
Yeah, I don't know
so
when,
many
when
steps.
I would have had a chance to either enjoy one of those or to make one, but he put us onto it.
It was so fun.
Yeah, he'll be doing some couples cooking classes in the month of February. So check out their website. What is the goodlifemealprep.com?
Yeah.
Check that out to book yourself a date night with the wifey or with the hubby.
Wife approved. It was so much fun. And Andrew's just a light anyways. And the food, oh my gosh. It was so rich that you had to like slow down because you just wanted to eat the whole thing. But yeah, there you go. Beef Wellington.
All right, boo. Let's close it out with some gratitude.
You go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
First thing first, grateful for the studio to be able to come and record. Quan's got an amazing setup here.
Yeah, shout out to Quan.
We've gotten nothing but good feedback. We're just grateful to have a place and a platform to just be able to talk. It's been awesome because we get to spend nights working together and collabing on the script and all that and talking about ideas of things we want to do. And then it's been cool because like date nights or something we kind of struggle with. So these have been kind of like day dates to kind of get away. We get to drop the kids off and people know that we're shooting on Saturday. So it's like, oh, who doesn't mind watching the kids?
Yeah.
I feel like people are starting to step up a little bit more. Shout out
cool.
to Gabby, Auntie Gabby, and Uncle Brian for watching the kids right now while we're here filming the podcast.
That's right.
Yeah. Number 2, I was talking about this morning, but I'm grateful for a body that's capable. I'm always grateful grateful for that. You were talking about the motorcycle accident, and I think that's where that perspective came for me. It's just things could have been so much worse.
Yeah.
But I'm here. I'm able to move. I'm able to walk. I'm able to get around. And some people don't have that. You know, some people don't have limbs and legs and heart and courage to do things that we do. So I'm grateful for a body that's capable every day. And then I'm grateful for our kids. Kids bring so much light to my life. I get to just see that perspective through their eyes, see how amazing of a life we're providing for them, getting to spend time with them. I love being a dad. It's one of the greatest rewards. Kids are such gifts from God, you know?
They really are.
Yeah. So those are my 3 things.
I love that. So for me, this week, it's going to be number 1. I am super thankful to be home when Uriah lost his second front tooth. So now we have a toothless wonder at home. And I mean, like you said, I love our kids so much and I love every phase, but I just love the excitement around these like little moments that I know right when they're happening. I feel like I'm like trying to press record in my brain because I'm like, man, I just want to remember all of this. But I love just the little milestones that we get to celebrate. And he just looks so cute without his 2 front teeth. I love it so much. Number 2, I'm going to say your patience. Omar is the most patient person I know. And even when he doesn't feel good, he's still patient with the kids. He's patient with me. He's patient when we're trying to hack stuff out. And I feel like that's such an undervalued personality trait sometimes.
Oh, thank you.
On just how it translates. And so I'm glad that you're patient with me as much as you are. And last but certainly not least, man, I'm just super thankful for our members. I got to coach a couple extra classes this week because O was not feeling good. And I got to coach some times that I don't normally get to coach. And it's like, man, dude, the energy that you get from people and how bought in and supportive everyone's been, how supportive they are of our kids. Shout out to Clifton. He got Sayla a little mermaid wig this morning this morning at the gym. And I just thought to myself, like, how lucky are we? Our kids are surrounded. Our family is surrounded by people that really care.
Yeah.
And I just don't ever take that for granted. And we had Jerry drop in this morning.
Yeah.
Jerry's like one of our OG members from like 2011.
Yeah.
Got to see Coach Dan, who was our right-hand man for so many years, see their kids. And I just thought, like, what a cool way to experience life with people.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to take that for granted because I see the difference that it makes and I see the friendships that are made. And I just am grateful that people trust us with their fitness, but more so that they like trust us with the journey of like where we're taking them and just the support. So
Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
And that wraps up episode 4.
Episode 4.
Yeah, we're done, man. Episode 4, moving on next week. Got any ideas? Want to tell people what we chatting about?
Let's see what they put in the comments.
Oh, see what they put
No,
in the
we have a couple guest speakers lined up. We're just trying to firm up some details. But like I said in the beginning of the episode, if there's anything that you guys want covered, we want this to be a resource for you guys. We want it to be entertaining, but we want it to be a resource. And we have a plethora of friends in many different arenas of specialty. So maybe if there's something in particular that we could add value in your life, let us know.
You want to close it out for us, Boo?
Well, here we go. So just remember you're made with a purpose, on purpose. And thank you for spending an hour with us.
Fit Force, you know, whoop.
Woo!
Peace. Chicken grease.